My Neighbor Totoro was written and directed by Hayao Miyazaki and was animated by Studio Ghibli. For full disclosure, I've never seen any of the Studio Ghibli films, and these videos give me an excuse to watch and experience what all the hype is about. I can't say I know the full scope as to the impact this movie or Studio Ghibli themselves have had on Japan and the rest of the world, but what I do know is this character is an icon. From my understanding, he's like the Mickey Mouse or Winnie the Pooh equivalent of a mascot in Japan. So I decided what better way to start my journey into Studio Ghibli's films than starting it with My Neighbor Totoro. The story follows the Kusakabe family, a father, his two daughters, and their mother who's in the hospital. The family moves into a new house so they can be closer to the hospital. However, spirits lurk around the place. It primarily focuses on the two girls, Satsuki and Mei, who kind of just live life as the children they are. The dad's an archaeology professor, Satsuki goes to school, and the mom's in the hospital. One day, Mei spots and follows two spirits into a tree where she encounters Totoro. And he can do some pretty crazy stuff like make entire trees grow and fly on his top. And he even has this freaky looking cat bus that can take anyone wherever they want to go. And that's the plot. What surprised me about this movie is how little conflict there was. I kept waiting for that moment where some greater evil shows up or any sort of real conflict happens. But much to my surprise, it hardly exists. It's a movie that is quite simple, to be honest. The biggest enemy, if anything, is this unnamed sickness the mother has, but it doesn't play too much of a role. I thought the dad died off screen about 50 minutes into the movie just because I thought there had to be something. But no, this is a kids movie, but sometimes kids movies can get pretty dark. Just not this one. Having just watched it for the first time, I took things at pretty face value, but after looking into this for a little bit more information so I could feel as though I got a tad more understanding, I saw how imagination was brought up a lot, that Totoro and the rest of the spirits don't exist and it was just these two girls' imagination running wild and having fun with it. It's a nice sentiment to think about, but I don't quite know if I like that. I'm a fan of the idea of all of these things being real, that in an ordinary life, there's this bigger and more grandiose adventure to be found. Sorta like the Goonies. Plus, some things I don't think can be explained away by imagination, mainly towards the end of the movie. Imagination doesn't help much with practical problems, but that's just the way I like to view it. It might be the wrong way, but I like it better. I did actually start feeling bad for the dad in this movie. He's a great dad. Says all the right things, never discourages what his daughters say. He's a quality individual, which kind of made me feel bad for him because his kids were having all of the fun with Totoro, real or not. And he never gets included. He has to be a single father looking after two children, he has a full-time job, and his wife is in the hospital, maybe on her deathbed. And he was never included into the fun. Adults can have fun. I would say they need it more than the kids. So I kind of felt bad that he never saw Totoro. I mean, how do you not see this? But that kind of adds to him not existing, but nonetheless, he needed more fun. Speaking of fun, Mei. She is the most free-range child I have ever seen. She disappears for hours with no concern from her dad, and she just runs places. 3-hour walk to the hospital? No big deal for this 4-year-old child. I'm a 21-year-old man who can't take a 40-minute drive to a Walmart with confidence. Whatever this kid has, I want it. The animation is really beautiful. Studio Ghibli is known for hand-drawing all of their films, and even a novice like me knows that and appreciates all of the hard work that went into this. And a good soundtrack combined with great animation makes the best and most heartwarming feelings in these types of movies. Having such a huge reputation, I could see how it could be a bit of a letdown for those watching it for the first time like myself. While it wasn't as jaw-dropping and grandiose as I expected, the movie is still really amazing. It captures the freeness of how it is being a child, but at the same time showing that kids aren't exempt from the darkness of reality. It's one of the few movies I've seen that truly feels like it works around the characters. It never feels like they're being pushed or pulled into a certain direction just because the plot demands it. It hardly feels like there's a plot in the first place, but rather we're observers to these girls' lives. Imagination and fun really is powerful, and real or not, Totoro helps emphasize that.